Good evening, Free Enterprise Channel, and welcome to this pivotal matchup in the fifth and final round of the Swiss rounds of the Fabul Gauntlet. Tonight's match promises to be a good one, featuring two strong runners with Antidale facing off against Xyrak. Both runners come to this night's race on a record of 2-2, meaning that for one of these racers, tonight is where the dream ends, while the winner will qualify for, at the very least, a play-in to the bracket stages. With me tonight on restream duty is the venerable Invenerable. Keeping the trackers up to date for everyone is the lovely Lofuzz. And joining me on comps tonight is the Imperial Dragon. How are things going for you tonight, MP?
Going pretty good. Looking forward to seeing this match.
I just want to make a quick note about how much I love these objectives that our tracker has chosen for us tonight. I think these all look very good.
Oh gee, I just noticed those.
So yes, as I said, both of our runners have a chance to advance to the bracket phase tonight, or like I said, at the very least a play-in to the brackets. They also both had a chance to score that magic third win and qualify the brackets in the last round. But both of them took a very close loss in their round 4 matchups. You have to wonder if that's going to be playing on their minds a little as they head into this matchup.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely should be on their minds, especially when it comes time to make some decisions.
Right, you have to worry about, do I have to make any sort of strange, against the grain, high variance plays, or should I just continue to play a standard normal game? Looks like we're just about to start off here. I saw we're starting off with a Rydia, which is not exactly the character that I want to see personally when I load up the startup screen, but we got a Sid with her, which is a very good early game character. And we have the Magma Key as well, so an early underground dive is on the table.
Yeah, it's basically the setup just screams go straight underground as far as I've always.
Yes, I'll give you a couple more checks of some shops, which are behind the gated items, so you know they might have some good items in them. And we're just about to see the objectives for tonight. We've got Burn the Mist, drop the key down the well, do a couple of the altars, and find Kane. Well, I think we can pretty much check off one of those objectives right now, as Antidale is heading right over to Agar to deal with that.
Can't really complain about a free objective.
No, not at all. Otherwise, looks like you got to, once you find the Darkness Crystal, you can go up to the moon, clear out those 2 altars. There's just a question of trying to find Kane and finding the package. Those look to be the only 2 potentially difficult objectives tonight. We had one of the twins in the inn. I think that was with Odin.
Any idea which twin it was? I can never tell the difference between them on the overworld.
I missed it as well, so if one of them goes back, we can take a closer look. You have a little bit of a variance here. Xyrak is doing the standard play of clearing out Bear, and while Antidale goes straight underground, is probably going to go into, it's going to check out the Job Dwarf town. So maybe he'll go make a quick validation of this seed. I guess it's exactly where he's going to.
Hey, validated!
A psychology professor. Meanwhile, it looks like Xyrak is making more of a traditional standard play, going up to Damsian before thinking about heading underground.
I mean, it's good, or it's definitely a good start if you're looking to have some money before you try going under.
Absolutely. Picking up a Dragon Whip, normally an item that you don't necessarily like seeing, but with Rydia, it's a half-decent item for her to use in the early game.
Yeah, that's actually kind of nice. I've had it come in handy plenty of times in the early game.
And it does look like Xyrak is going to go ahead and raise the hovercraft as well while he's here. It's an interesting choice to make whether or not you do it or not, because these objectives don't necessarily scream out that you're going to need the hook. Meanwhile, Antidale is heading down towards FE March, going to grab the free item in here.
And it looks like Adamant.
Not terribly useful right now. Maybe later if we find a Cecil and find a Legend Sword. Yeah, if that had been a Darkness Crystal, having the whole game wide open at 3.5 minutes would be quite the seed.
Admittedly, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that one would be a jet seed, but you can never tell.
No. And it looks like we found Octomom hiding in the Watery Pass, making us have to say, is this even randomized? I'm sorry, it's in her contract. And of course, with the early Rydia, it means you can go into the front of Hobbs and see what kind of summon you can get from thing. You get Indra.
And it looks like that was Sura and Valvalis for the FE March.
Well, I'm very happy to find Valvalis down there, since it means I don't have to worry about her potentially until much later in the game.
French vanilla.
Xyrak goes on up and finds Cecil waiting on Hobbs. Going to go ahead and take out the 3 sisters here as well. It's a fairly decent spot to find them. Well, Antidale completes his round of the underground by heading down to Sylph Cave and getting activating the Sheila 1 item for later grabbing when he goes over to Fabul.
Sometimes it's a little more time effective to wait until you have the pan for it, but doesn't really hurt either necessarily.
No, absolutely. Anytime I can reduce the number of times I have to run back to Fabul, I'm happy. So I'm happy to only have to go back twice. Meanwhile, on Xyrak's stream, we see that that Sid, showing his value early game, having so many hit points, he can certainly tank a lot of these hits from the spells from the sisters.
Unfortunately, Rydia can't tank those hits.
Antidale's going to make a quick stop over here in Dwarf Castle, taking a look at the shops here as well, before probably heading back overground and taking care of some of the checks up there as well. Finds coffins in the shop here.
Those can be really handy with some of the bosses, and for leveling.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Xyrak just finishes up with the sisters and gets 10 levels on Rydia for keeping her alive to the end of here. It's going to make her slightly more robust instead of having those pitiful 30 hit points to start with.
Yeah, the hardest part about Rydia is just getting her leveled enough to survive.
Antidale skipping off over both the normal early game looting spots, looks to be going straight into Antlion, which is also where Xyrak is going. No, Antidale's actually going to take the walk up to Hobbs first.
Well, Indra's not necessarily a bad addition to the summon.
No, it's a decently powered lightning spell if you can if you need it. So Xyrak has yet to go underground. He's been taking sort of a standard route through the game without that bandit key. Do you think he's going to be tempted to check the underground maybe after this check, or do you think he's going to maybe continue on, do Fabul or Ordeals next, especially because he has Cecil?
Honestly, in that place, I would probably go for Ordeals. Cecil is kind of nice when you get the, or when you change him over to the pap.
The other point in that favor, of course, is that any experience he gets before going to Ordeals, you lose on the transition, so it makes sense to go as early as possible. And look at that, it's a Wyvern ready to beat us down here, but it's a slow spot, so we're having no problem getting the star rails up.
Not necessarily the place I want to see Wyvern, usually, but at least it's relatively easy to do.
Yeah, normally you'd say, oh, this is not my progression down to the underground because the Wyvern can't block your progression, but you already got that. Instead, he's just blocking the spoon, so... Woo?
I mean, the spoon's good if you get an edge to chuck it at something, but otherwise it's kind of a meh key.
Yes. Antidale reset out of the Wyvern fight quickly, but try to go back, going to drop the battle speed down a little bit to make it a little easier. But this is a pretty slow spot, like I said, so getting those star rails up shouldn't be a problem. Or not. Xyrak's going to make a quick pit stop at Troya here, going to take a look at the shops here. Oh, there's an Earth Hammer waiting for you in the Troya weapon shop, which is a really nice pickup for Sid.
Yeah. And Illusion.
Ah, always like to see those as well. And Antidale is going to get the Star Veil off this time, so Wyvern will be going down very quickly. Can't keep that ready up, so she's still going to stay off level 1, unfortunately.
But while the early levels are nice, there still should be plenty of chances for him to level her.
Absolutely, absolutely. Xyrak continuing his shopping tour around the world, heading over to Capo, and we're going to take a quick peek. It looks like to be another twin as well. You know, if these runners can stop moving so quickly, we can actually tell you which character it is.
I don't know how people can tell that quickly what character's that.
Maybe at this point they're just thinking, okay, it's not Kane, therefore I don't really need to know about it.
That's actually a really good point.
And it appears that Xyrak is now going to go ahead and go underground. Of course, Antidale already went underground for it was cool. He's such a hipster. Okay, I think that was a Porum. I think I saw the ponytail on the left, which is a Porum when they're in the bed.
Depending how things go, that if they see the Sand Derby, that may be worth going back for, but if they don't have a white mage, but we still have a lot of character spots to check.
Right. That is one of the things about this particular flat set is you are guaranteed to find at least one of every character somewhere. Once we head on to the bracket phases, that's not guaranteed. I think you're limited to only 7 characters. So it'll be interesting once we get to the bracket stages how runners wind up dealing with a limited selection of characters.
And then there's also the chance that you could end up with the character that you really like working with. You might not.
Yeah, it's always the risk you run. You have to be able to roll with the punches, as it were. We've got Antidale over here taking on the sisters as well. One-shotting Mindy, so that looks to be a pretty powerful Sid at this point. And of course, we have to see if Xyrak is going to do us the honor of validating the seed as well.
He did!
I was afraid he was trying to run away, but it looked like he got blocked in by the NPC there, so I decided, hey, might as well validate. Give the people what they want. And Antidale blows through the Three Sisters fight, no problem there, gets his Cecil. Interesting to see where he goes next. If he does want to go over to Ordeals now, if he wants to maybe do Fabul first, because he's got the second key item also waiting for him.
Looks like Fabul.
That's a very solid play there.
Can't complain about 2 key items there.
And we'll see who's waiting in the Gauntlet spot today.
Bahamut.
The Bahamut. That's again, it's a pretty nice place to find him. You could either probably DPS him down, give him this spot, or just throw up a Sar Veil and let him burn himself down.
Nice easy spot for him. Though admittedly, he is kind of a free boss. I hate to see him at the easy spot.
So we've seen Wyvern, we've seen Bahamut, so that's our Mega Neuters out of the way pretty early tonight.
That makes things a little bit more comfortable, though there's still some very dangerous bosses left.
Antidale doing, I think, a very smart play there, keeping Rydia up instead of Cecil or Sid. Make sure that she gets all the experience she can, since the other two probably don't need it. And looks like Xyrak was doing some chest hunting down on the way to Feymarch, and I guess found a monster and reset.
Looks like Antidale just got the rat tail.
Well, lacking a hook, that's not going to do much but sit in our inventory right now.
And a pass. Not bad.
No, definitely not. You're always happy to see that. It gives you a quick way to get to the Z fight when you're ready. But unfortunately, so I'm sorry, continue.
Admittedly, there is no way to not have to get the Darkness Crystal in this case, though.
True. And unfortunately, neither of those giving them progression immediately. So they're going to have to continue on their current path. And finding cabins in Fabul, always a relief to find those. They're trying to have to go around just using those tents for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I prefer finding cabins early to having to do nothing or do with nothing but tents for an entire seed. Yes, and Inven did roll this seed.
Send all hate mail right to him. And they'll also going to head over to Troy and take a look at the shops over there as well. While Xyrak is going through and clearing out Feymarch, or just the runners are sort of retracing each other's steps right now. Yeah, we had Sora and Valvalis down there, as we saw earlier, and that's it's a good place to find Valvalis because you probably won't have to deal with her until much later in the seed.
And the NPCs are not cooperating tonight for Xyrak.
Those are the true bosses of this game. Mark my words. Over in the silver item shop, we find Sylph, which is a very nice pickup for Iridia party.
Yeah, with the way that Sylph handles MP being free, if you've got enough to cast it, that is just lovely.
I mean, it works as a very nice source of healing as well. The only issue is that the animation's a little slow. Race situation, you might be sitting there watching that animation take up several minutes of your time.
Yeah, that is a good point.
And Antidale loading up his party. I think we're going to be heading over to Ordeals next. I think that's the most logical play with the Cecil in the party. Looks to be the case. Meanwhile, Xyrak, after having talked to Yang in the Sylph Cave, is going to go overhead and clear out Fabul Gauntlet as well. So far, I must say, I think it's been a pretty kind, straightforward seed. So I'm hoping we find some very interesting complications. But I will say, King Queen Edlin in the first spot of Ordeals is probably not going to be at.
No, probably not. But there's still plenty of time and spaces for things to get interesting.
Absolutely. Again, this is again one of those places where you don't want to see these kind of bosses, these free bosses in relatively free boss spots. And it looks like Antidale is going to try to burn down the Eblins here to with some of the cast times of Sylph. I'm not sure if this is a net time gain or time loss. Well,
Did his Sid just hit himself?
I think so. It might have been a miss menu on his part, but that's not a problem. He's certainly got the HP to deal with that. Xyrak has finished up with his Vomit fight and is picking up the 2 key items available here at Fabul, and is right on the heels of Antidale at this point. I think he's done a little more shopping, so it's still pretty even. That's the Antlion in the back attack spot.
Oh, that can be not so fun to deal with.
I have to imagine that we're just going to see a lot of Sylph here because that won't trigger the counterattack and will be fairly powerful attack as well here, yeah. And I'm also using the Earth Hammer as well on Sid to get some extra non-counterable damage out there.
Yeah, if you don't have a good amount of damage items, that's a really good way.
Well,
looks like
is
we're on
opting to go to Baron in here and take out a very quick Odin. items there as I expect. I think that boss spot only has about 400 hit points, and we've got Rubicante there. Interesting position. That might be a little difficult.
Yeah, that's not a boss I'd like to see there.
You can push through it for getting...
And there's the Darkness Crystal.
Well, it was a little slow for an invent seed, but we did finally get a full access to the rest of the game here. So, very interesting to see where we go next. Do we go up and take a quick peek and see who the character waiting for us on the moon is, or do we keep clearing out the overworld?
The character on the moon may not be a bad option considering the fact that he still only has 3 party members.
Right. When I play, I kind of prioritize getting 5 characters in my party as much as possible. I mean, granted, that doesn't necessarily mean I think it's the fact that I'm not very good at the game, but that's how I think. I would probably make that play and try to get that 5th character. And taking out the Karate Man there. Again, another free boss, taking up a relatively easy spot. So that could bode poorly for some late game spots.
Yeah, that could very well bode poorly come the boss spots they need to do on the moon.
Meanwhile, looks like Sid is going mano a mano with Rubicante there, and gets the special dialogue ending of Rubicante. So that's that boss taken care of. That's the Luca key. And also we'll pick up Palom for another character there. And looks like Antidale is going to go right ahead and turn in that Darkness Crystal in Mythidia.
For a second, it looked like he was going elsewhere because he flew over it, but...
Right now, it's a very mage-heavy party, and Sid, and Cecil. I was thinking of still thinking of the twin in Capo as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, with still having that Dark Knight Cecil, it makes sense to go up ordeals now for Xyrak, although he's going to take a walk into the little hidden chocobo. 20 gold.
I did not realize there was an item spot in there. Interesting things you learn.
And Adele is going to raise the whale, but then going to go over to Baron Castle, to Baron Inn, to grab the character there first. Looks like. Also to loot the place. That's right. He skipped over here, going straight down to the underworld when he got the Magna Key to start with. So he's getting these checks out of the way as well. And
They're actually running fairly even if you think about what they've all got done.
absolutely, they're pretty much got the same amount of checks taken care of. It also looks like Xyrak is going to try and clear out the King and Queen Evelyn before getting the free cutscene out of this battle. Meanwhile, antidale is clearing out Rubicante. Getting that Sylph Summon is going to be very nice. So we're about halfway, or half an hour through the seed right now. We started out with the 3 objectives, but since then, we haven't found a package, we haven't found Kane, and pretty much the entire game is open to us. So what initially looked like it might have been a kind of a jet seed is looking a lot more complex now.
Maybe a long and winding road until they get through.
Anything could happen at this point. I do appreciate how both of these runners are using Rydia right now. Their relative lack of power. They really do a very good job of using her summons here, the ones that at least we've been given, to try to get through these early battles as quickly as possible. And Xyrak is going to be doing, at least be trying to do the same kind of strategy as Dale did to get through Antlion with as few counters as possible. But the problem is that Xyrak doesn't have that Sylph Summon, so he doesn't have that unending source of damage that Antidale had to get through it. But on the flip side, you do have Palom, who does have a few spells available to him, so maybe it's a bit of a wash.
And a kamikaze.
It's a pretty interesting move, especially because you know you're getting a free heal right after. So to be able to do a quick 750 points of damage to Antlion there, knowing that you're going to get Sid right back up for the next boss fight, is a pretty smart move.
Yeah, I like that actually. I've never done it before, but may have to keep that in mind.
The thing that I've certainly learned while I've been watching the tournament go by is that so many people have discovered so many different ways of using items or using spells that you might not consider during just from normal playing of it. Dale's headed up to the moon and finds Sid Mark II.
Not necessarily the character I'd want to see a duplicate of, but
especially now because as you get into the midpoint of the game, Sid's strengths kind of start falling off since he doesn't have really good endgame equipment. He doesn't. He has a lot of hit points. Basically, that's it. So having that be your duplicate and having you find him on the moon there, it's not great.
especially since you have, or since that's or since that spot could have, or is a spot where you could have Fu or any, or Edge, which are definitely preferred.
Absolutely. I'm sure these people, the Rise would also love to see Kane, because that would have been one more objective down there. Now the dream of having Kane behind the is still in play. And I don't think there was anything of interest in the Hummingway Kid either. So the voyage to the moon right now, kind of a bust. So Antidale's going to be heading down into the underground, stopping at Dwarf Castle. And it looks to be a Dark Knight Cecil jumping around behind the throne there. It's a spot that does a fair bit of damage. I'll be interested to see just how much and see if they can tank through it. Yeah, just that one heal of Sid, that should square things up against Sid's large HP pool coming into play here. But it might make the second battle kind of difficult, because you have to go right into it without a chance to heal.
Oh, though he did manage to get Palom up.
That's great. Getting some more experience on him as well. And Xyrak is going to raise up his whale as well. Meantime, let's take a look and see what character is waiting for us on Antidale's screen. And that's going to be the Elements boss, since we've already fought Rubicante.
And Fu.
Ah, there's our Fu. That is a great addition right now to the party. And that would be a goodbye to the second Sid. And yeah, that'll make this fight a heck of a lot easier.
Not fully powered, but he's got enough abilities to give some usefulness though.
Yeah, Quad 9, that's kind of useful. So it's a play that's worked out very well for Antidale. Got a very nice party member, and we'll soon get another key item. Meanwhile, looks like Xyrak is going to be heading on to the moon as well, and will be feeling very underwhelmed with what he finds up there. And just a crystal ring for Antidale over there. Makes it a little awkward to try to figure out where you want to go next, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think your choices are Keyless Tower and the Luca Cave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although, on the other hand, a D Machine Grind is available now that you have Fusi Crystal. So if you want to power yourself up and take out the giant, that's also an option if you feel comfortable with this party.
Does his Fu have weak unlocked yet? I didn't see.
That's a good point. Although if not, you can go up and take care of the Dragon Mist spot and the Watery Pass spot and get 6 more spells.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. You really do not want to not check your Fu spells before trying Dragon.
Now it looks like Antidale is going to go head down to the Luca Cave.
And Dia said that his food does not have weaken.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have tried to. I would have taken out the 2 easy boss spots on the overworld and tried to get weak that way if I were playing. But we'll see how this play works out. It's a good key item location as well, so it could very well be the right play.
If he's lucky, it may be the package.
Meanwhile, Xyrak has returned from his lunar expeditions with 1 extra Sid in his party, and be doing the Dwarf Castle play as well. And Antidale has wound his way through the cave, and we'll be checking the key item here very shortly, as Xyrak has to deal with Pain Man, Dark Knight Cecil.
And a pink tag.
Well, not exactly what we want to see, and Antidale said immediately, see who the boss is, which is always a little risky, because if it winds up being the Mist Dragon, and you've already mentally checked this place off, it might be a while to come back here, because I have learned myself the hard way.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's a risk to not check.
Yes. I would have imagined that if we had one boss hunt in our objectives, he would have remembered to check it. But if you're mentally thinking, well, I don't have to look for bosses, then that's immediate reset. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to do the giant here. Doesn't have weak though, right? I'll have to double check that. And meanwhile, Xyrak gets through Dark Knight Cecil and gets his foo. And that's a very quick goodbye to the second Sid. Can't blame him one bit.
Admittedly, with the way that Foo's spells tend to be ordered, it can be hard to see which spells he actually has.
I think they're both at the same spot right now, so Antidale's going straight into the Elements fight. This is
Oh, that's his own boss.
Lunar Dragons, and that's a quick reset. Seems to be thinking he's going to... I think he's going to go for it. No, he's doing the D Machine hunt, it looks like. Meanwhile, Xyrak, after having completed Dwarf Castle, it looks like he's going to be going up the tower without the key.
Keyless Tower, it can be a risk, but there have been plenty of times I've seen it pay off.
Absolutely, especially when the tower keys at the middle position at the top of the tower begin with, though, you would always have to chance a keyless tower. And also looks like at this point Xyrak is... No, I spoke too soon. I thought he was going to keep his Rydia down in order to keep her possibly as an agility anchor, but now it looks like she's going to be back amongst the fighting on the party. Well, Antidale, that looks like the right configuration might be going into the D-Machine grind. Whilst Xyrak is also finding an alert, maybe do a little grinding of his own here. No, he's still just going for the trap chests here, trying to find some good items here. Maybe get a little more levels and just get some coffin first troubles.
Useful, but not necessarily something I like swatting chests for.
No, especially because I think we already found coffins somewhere else in this game.
Yeah, they were in one of the shops. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, quite so great of a grab. Meanwhile, oh, yeah, he doesn't have weak. That's unfortunate.
Oof.
But he did have a save right outside of Lucky Cave, so really all he lost was the time in getting to the giant, which is not nothing, but At least doesn't have to do the walk of shame back to the earth. And it's looks like it's Luge on top of the tower today. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, for your contract, I have to say, is this even randomized? Sorry, I don't stop here. Well, FDL is also going to be climbing up the tower and looking, trying to find a good item here in the chest. Got a few levels. It's a strength ring. That's, I mean, you can usually find those in a store somewhere. Not too rare, but it's still a very nice find for your melee fighters. Meanwhile, Xyrak is done with the first phase of the Luge fight. Going back for seconds. Good point in chat from Dia that Antidale probably feels like he just lost a fair bit of time and thinks he's going to be behind, so it wouldn't be completely out of the question to see him maybe take a few gambles, make a few high variance plays, try to find progression where you normally wouldn't look.
Yeah, anytime you lose, or any situation where you lose that much time, you sort of question your...
Yeah, absolutely. It can be... it plays on you mentally a little bit that you just may have lost a few minutes and that might have put you behind. Meanwhile, Xyrak gets the twin harp at the top of the tower, so we could very well be in for music.
And nothing like the walking through a place with poison.
And that fight also unlocked Nuke for Fu, so that all of a sudden makes him even more powerful than he was before.
Nice. Yeah. Cannot complain about Nuke. Ever.
For Antidale's sake, I'll feel very happy that Weak, I believe, was not one of the 3 spells he learned. He saw that one boss fight away from Weak. That would make that Sojourn to the Giant feel even more unfortunate. Another trap chest check on the side of Xyrak here. It's a cat claw, which would be nice if we had a Yang. Antidale, after leaving Ball Knight up for a little bit, gets through the first stage of the fight there, heads on over to the stage as Xyrak tower.
Oh, looks like we're gonna get some music soon.
That indeed looks to be where Xyrak is heading to, so minutes we'll be able to hear what DJ Spoony B has for us tonight. Is there one music track particular that you like, MP?
Honestly, half the songs I end up not even recognizing because it's got such a great selection.
It's funny, at least personally, is that I swear every time I'm watching it playing a seed, I'll recognize the music, but every time I'm commentating on a seed, I won't know the music, I swear to you. So I'll probably be like, oh, I don't know what that is. I hope that the chat can fill in the blanks for me. Xyrak still suffering the poison there, trying to get through the cave.
That kind is making it a little hard to watch his screen, but we will make it through.
Yes. Antidale's finished up the fight with Fluge. He's taking a long walk down the tower with his twin harp. Maybe he'll be heading over to the Magnet Cave as well. Xyrak continuing to check the chest here. This is a decent place to check chests early in the game if you have to go here, because you know there's nothing trapped, so you know you're going to get what you're going to get. This late in the game is an interesting play for that one. Maybe he thinks he needs... I probably was just looking for a decent sword for Cecil, because right now he's only using a mute dagger.
Ooh, yeah. I'd definitely be looking for a better sword.
And there's another good use of that kamikaze to get through the Dark Elf cutscene quicker. I bet you that Xyrak was hoping that all the poison damage that he had taken walking to here, that he would just immediately go right into the cutscene. But no, unfortunately, that one hit point just, was enough for the game to give him control. And we're going to let Edward play you some songs right now. That's a really nice one. Got a good beat. You can dance to it. I give it a 75.
Not a song that I'm familiar with.
Chat identified it as River City Ransom, and so we've got CPU here at the Dark Elf spot. Ooh, bounces off the nuke off Palom to the wrong one, so we're going to be getting to Globe 199. Meanwhile, despite Antidale's ill-fated walk to the giant, he's caught right up with Xyrak, and he's going to be taking on the fight at the same time. One of the issues that I think our owners are finding right now is that with a party that is very weighted towards magic damage, with only Sid and very under-equipped Cecil putting out the physical damage, that this is going to be a pretty difficult spot to get through CPUs. again, Xyrak using Kamikaze to do a lot of damage to there. I wonder if he miscounted the hit points because Fusuya's Kamikaze wasn't enough. And Sis was enough either. That's going to be an unfortunate reset there.
And yay, another walkthrough with poison.
That's going to give the advantage back to Antidale, I believe. He's going to be able to. It's like doing more slower but more standard strategies against CPU. It's managing the fight pretty well. And it's definitely a slow and steady process on the Dale side. But it will definitely do the trick here and put him back into the lead in this race.
Though, of course, he doesn't know that he's in the lead now.
Absolutely, and that's always the thing about races like this, is that you can never tell just where you are exactly. You might think you're behind, but you're in the lead, or vice versa. And Antidale is through with that CPU fight. And we'll be getting the key item here. I believe that was weak alongside Meteor and White.
Always good to get the weak now.
Yes. Day late and $1 short for Antidale, but Jerry's happy to see it now alongside the hook, which lets you turn in that rat tail, and will also, if you wanted to, go down to Evelyn Cave and check out the character there. Probably a good idea because we're still looking for Kane. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone take a chocobo back down to the airship like that did, but I think that was a little faster.
Yeah. And anything that gains a little bit of speed, worth it.
Absolutely. Every second counts. Meanwhile, Xyrak's back on his second go for CPU. We'll see if he decides to change his strategy a little. Getting the reflected nuke back on the attacker again. He is having no luck with it. I mean, I think that's the second 50-50 shot he's missed using that strategy. And with such strong magic damage on this spot, about the only thing that can get through here are Fusuya's nukes. Hopefully he's done enough damage here so that he can just take a standard approach and knock out the rest of CPU's hit points without too much difficulty. The spot doesn't have the greatest amount because it's split amongst the three of them. And yeah, he's able to get through there finally, and with a sigh of relief, no doubt. It is going to take a look at the shop that's always stacked here. Star Veils, Elixirs, and there's the Sirens as well.
Definitely can't complain about all of those. Well, I mean, the Elixirs are a little bit expensive, but the other two...
Absolutely. Anytime you could get those, get the Sirens especially. You can give yourself a quick way of getting some experience. You're always happy to see that. And he's going to go ahead and run through this cave and see who's waiting for him on the other side. And just to tell, and the antidale has no use for that. He's Meanwhile, Xyrak is going to be heading over to Silvera and brought the hovercraft with him so we can turn in that rat tail. I don't think Antidale turned in his rat tail yet, did he?
I didn't see it.
Let's see if that makes a difference, because if that's something like the Earth Crystal or the Baron Key, that could be a very important key item. Oh, he did. I'm sorry. The chat's telling me his tower key, which is why he's back in the tower here, actually, because he did clear this out. That would make a lot of sense. And we've got Kinatsu in this rather pitiful spot. That'll be a very quick.
Honestly, can't be a better place to see him, I think.
Absolutely. It's one quick spell, you're done. So he'll walk back down the tower and see what that tower key gave him. And Xyrak is going to be right on his heels, having just got his tower key. See if he wants to check the character as well down the Oven Cave. Looks to be where he's going next. Meanwhile, Antidale takes his second walk down the tower. Always one of those things where you're thinking, why can't I just warp or exit out of here? No, I've got to take the long way. Xyrak checking the shops down here in the cave, finds the sirens, and will no doubt stock up on a few of those, or a lot of those. And that is a package. So that is... Let me see if I get this progression right. Keyless Tower, the Twin Harp to Rat Tail, the Tower Key, the package.
That's a nice little chain.
Yes. So... that could very well also lead to Kane as well, and if so, that would be a go mode. And obviously, yes, Antidale's going to be turning that in right quick. It's a Yang. Oh, don't reset. No, we still have to do it.
Oh,
Oh
jeez.
no. Oh, you don't have to go through the cutscene of Hypo to get the character in the village. Oh. Oh, okay, good. He's tracking it, and he just realized that, oh, I still... So, mean, he's not going back immediately because he knows he doesn't necessarily need to at this point. So but that thankfully will be in his mind, so he won't be too far behind. I believe they both checked the Sand Ruby character. They know it's one of the twins. It'll be Aram. And Antidale is going to be using some of those sirens he picked up in the Upland Cave to do a bit of grinding right now, which is a fair thing to do. While Xyrak sees his Kenatsu fight and will go almost certainly very quickly. This is one of those situations I always think about is when you have the access to sirens, but you also have access to the giant and a caster with weak for the D-Machine grind. Which one is a little bit faster? And I was thinking, especially because you have to find a character that could very well be behind the bosses of the giant. Possibly in this case, doing a D-Machine grind instead of just doing the sirens. Though, I mean, I don't know which one is actually faster in reality.
I don't know either, but I would probably be going for the Damish.
At some point, I wonder if it's just personal preference. I mean, the sirens are very much, it's very easy to use the item, use an attack, and you're done. While the machine does require a little bit of juggling around with, magic points and with, character, timings, so it'd be a little more thought intensive. But especially in a objective that potentially could be behind the giant, I don't know. It's a tough choice to make. Xyrak does clean up with the tower key, gets his package, and is heading above ground to, no doubt, cash that in. And a good point has been made that they are both at 10 key items now, which is going to make whatever grind they do a lot quicker.
Very true.
Xyrak does a peek into the D-Mist cave and finds Plague. So worry about him for this seed. And he's decided he's got enough of egg crushing and is heading off to the whale and to go to the moon, looks like.
Looks like Xyrak's going to complete the pack.
Looks like the package had cane inside of it that unfortunately is not the cane we're looking for. Dale's heading down into the subterranean. Guess he thinks he's powerful enough now to be able to take out probably the White Spear and the Ribbon areas and get those two objectives off his board.
I didn't actually see what his levels were, but if he's got the group for it, that's probably where I would go.
No, it makes a lot of sense at this point. Xyrak is heading over to Kaipo with Yang and Toda. I wonder if he's going to actually put him in his party, or if he just thinks he has to complete the whole cutscenes in order to do it, or he's maybe just checking to see maybe if the D-Mist is at this location. I've had that happen before, and it's burdened me in some long seeds.
Same.
That's a gold bash. That's not who you really want to see at this point. I don't think he saved, so if he's not interested in Yang, he's sort of committed to seeing this out. Lucy avoids the hold gas. They must have missed what item they have. The crystal ring prop they have to avoid that. When you think about it.
Yeah. However, it will not avoid the demolish.
No. You get a decent thing about this location, because there's so few hit points, and you have relatively so many that you can just don't have to worry about any star rails. Just whack it a few times and down he goes. Or just once.
The guards at the ribbon spot.
It's a very nice find, especially with all those with the coffins that we have. This is a very fight, and using a life potion as well as advantage of to get some extra experience points here. Very smart play. Meanwhile, Xyrak is taking Yang, and Rydia has done her duty for the evening. Antidale finds a golden apple and a Zeus Gauntlet in the ribbon chest. Zeus Gauntlet, not a bad pick at all.
Apple's not a bad pickup either if he keeps Rydia in the part.
Absolutely. Rydia definitely has a problem with hit points at higher levels, so getting an extra 100 hit points characters to survive a bad roll of Big Bang is usually a smart play. And we got Pale Dim here at the White Spear altar. This boss isn't necessarily bad, just more annoying really at this spot.
I won't complain about getting it there at all.
It's pretty hard, but he's able to deal with it. Looks pretty well, and it also looks like Xyrak is also going to be going down to the subterranean, take care of well, getting those two objectives off the board, leaving us just with the search for Kain. Xyrak did pick up Sirens. We haven't seen him use any yet. You know, looking at that, he just picked up the Yang, who's only at level, doing maybe a King Ryu grind before taking on the bosses here.
Well, if he's got the group to take, or for the others to carry, some of the bosses aren't bad for getting somebody up from low levels either.
That's true, you know, especially because he doesn't know it, obviously, but we know that we do have guards in the ribbon room, so that would be a very, very quick slingshot for Yang. Antidale is through with the Pale Dim fight there. Gets the Earth Crystal. That could very well be where King is hiding. That is 2 character checks.
Yeah. Let's see what... Maybe he's gonna go check it now.
I think that's a smart play. He's taking care of the 2 objectives that he knows he needs do on the moon. If Kane is at the Earth crystal, then that's go mode. He's done. He's got the pass. He doesn't have to go anywhere else. You're looking at the places that are left. It's the Earth crystal, it's Baron Key, and it is at the Giant. And odds are 50% that he's at the Earth crystal spot. Xyrak completing the fight with the guards. And I think I just saw Yang got 30 levels from that slingshot, so that's a very nice bunch of experience there.
Definitely. Oh, and it looks like Antidale's finally gone back for the package.
Yes. If he does wind up winning, he'll probably wonder just exactly how he pulled it off, considering that between this and the issue with the D machine grind that he had, he probably feels he's well behind. Xyrak is going to go into his Pale Dim fight. And, Antidale is getting through the cutscene here in this. Let's see if he does what Xyrak does and actually goes through with it by taking Yang to Kaipo. I would imagine at this point, he doesn't have really much interest in getting another character up to speed, and yeah, it looks like he's not going to be carrying around a rather comatose Yang for the rest of the game. Well, Xyrak is nuking the heck out of Pale Dim. Quake Kid's going as well. Be a pretty quick fight here as long as he can keep his pages going.
Ooh.
Just as I say that.
That's not looking...
No, that's not going to do it, but we'll just have to take a quick reset there, go back in the room and try again. Or maybe just do a little grinding beforehand, getting a King Hero fight out of the way for some more levels. Meanwhile, up here on the Earth Crystal and the Tower of Zot, it's a D-Mist.
Oh, there's another key item spot. In case Kane's not in here.
If it's a Baron key, that'll be the third spot that you can go for. That'd be an interesting thing. But also looking for a Legend Sword, because that would give us an Excalibur, which would fix our issues we currently have with Cecil of not having any good weapons.
Yeah, Dorfax is not what I call a good weapon for Cecil.
No. And as you might expect at this point in the game, the first boss spot in Tower of Zot proving to be no issue, Dale.
And there's Kane.
And that's Kane. That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Go Mode. And welcome to everyone rating us from RPG Limit Break. You have just walked into Go Mode as we just found fifth objective, finding Kane here on Tower of Zot. Antidale is going to be in Go Mode very shortly. With the pass in his possession, we could be ending this race rather quickly.
And there's also an Eddie.
Well, for let's say, I think about for an anchor spot, but adding even at the initial, a little too fast. It's still doable though. Let's see what he does. I decides not to go for it.
Can't entirely blame him for it because at least now, or at least he's already got leveled character.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Xyrak is doing a few more grinds here with King Ryu spots to get some more levels to get through that Pale Dim spot. Because but once he gets there, he'll get his Earth Crystal will be probably on his way. And Mylon Z, again, serving up no problems for Antidale. He's on his way right now. I've got to say, this party configuration, outside of power of Fusio to the Z fight, there really isn't anybody here I would have chosen to bring. You got a Cecil here with doesn't have the best of weapons, and you got a Sid, you've got a Rydia whose HP levels are pretty small, and you have Palom. So, the question remains, who's going to be your healer? How are you going to be able to manage this?
Fu can heal, but it kind of feels sometimes like it's better to have him nuking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not saying it's not doable. I've certainly, people do it with weaker parties, but it'll be interesting to see how he managed. The Mazamune at the miss, checking it, probably hoping for maybe ideally a crystal sword, but even just the legend sword would be nice. Unfortunately, that's not a sword that we're really looking for right now. Heading back down underground, doing a few more grinds here. Putting that cursed ring on Sid's a very nice thing. It will help get the party back down to RA1 for the Zeromus fight. See, right now Cecil's fighting with a dwarf axe, so his power is going to be rather limited for the fight. So right now we've got as we do our grind back at where we've been so far. We started out with the Rydia and the Sid and got the Magma Key to start with. And after dropping down the well, picking a few items, we eventually found our way into a pretty nasty chain of items going through a keyless tower, through the music, back to the tower with the tower key to find our package. I don't remember where the darkness crystal was that got us through the ribbon and the white spear. But as it stands,
I think darkness was on Mount Ordeals.
Ah, yes, that's right. Because it opened up the seed relative. But as it stands right now, Antidale is in go mode, having completed all 5 objectives. But as he goes through looking for some more items, he's clearly not feeling very comfortable with his party as it stands. Meanwhile, Xyrak is finishing up with his grind, taking on Pale Dim, and once he gets there, he'll get this Earth Crystal, which will lead him into finding Kane, which will be his 5th objective, and putting him in go mode as well. So, the question now becomes, it looks like Antidale is going to head on up to Troya. possibly turn that pass and make you give Zeromus a shot. Okay, he's got Rydia, he's got Palom, he's got Fusia, all with the Duke. This looks like Reflect strats to me.
Yeah, definitely Reflect strats.
So, as we are heading to Zeromus for the final fight of this race, you guys see those flags out in chat, and we always have to ask ourselves a question. MP, would you like to do the honors tonight?
Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Very nice. Xyrak has completed his Pale Dim spot, gets the Earth Crystal, and as you might, pieces out and will be heading on down to the Tower of Zot very quickly. And Antidale turning in the pass, taking the short walk to the Zeromus fight. And looking at the time, it's been less than an hour and a half. It's been a pretty quick seed, even considering some of the missteps that our runners had to suffer through to get through the particular chain of logic that the game set out for us tonight. So it's really a well done job for both of our runners right now. And of course, if anyone's not familiar with how this works, Zeromus is the one boss can't randomize. So to give us a little random flair, the lovely Shala Kitty has helped us create a huge number of different sprites. So after we use the crystal, we will get to find out exactly who Zeromus is tonight. And tonight we have Queenmus 2.
Not sure where that one's from.
That's beyond me as well, I'm afraid. Off, the French indie RPG. That's wow. That is a deep cut there.
There's definitely a whole lot of variety and a little bit of everything in those sprites.
See, not only do you get entertainment from watching these races, you get some education. While on Xyrak's screen, he's through the first fight, sees his cane, knows he's in go mode, to be able to be following up on Antidale's footsteps up to Zeromus pretty soon. Once again, as long as he's happy with his party. You know, as Antidale was able to nerf that one big bang. Putting out some decent damage with those nukes as well. Yeah, clearly with Cecil and Sid on pure chemist duty, full reflex strats here, trying to get Zeromus down before he's able to refill his HP.
Usually these reflux strat ones don't take too long.
No, since you're only dealing with about 61,000 hit points, if I'm not mistaken, instead of having takes his HP over 100,000. As long as you can manage the fight and keep everyone in, upright, these ones can be very quick. Xyrak is through with the Mylon Z fight in Zot, and will be heading towards Romus very soon as well. And that is the Flash. Antidale pulled off the reflex strats very well. GG to him with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, 6 seconds. Very well played.
Yeah, very nice.
And we're hoping to bring Antidale into the room very shortly for an interview. And there he is, Antidale, GG.
Thank you.
So, how was that race?
A lot of mistakes at certain points, but overall fun.
Yeah, when you headed up to the do the D machine grind, we were thinking, does he have weak? I don't think we saw weak, and we were just hoping that maybe we had missed it. What were you thinking at that point? Did you think that you'd be able to recover from that?
No, I thought it was super behind and was assuredly going to lose. And then decided to do Keyless Tower as a gamble, and then covered myself in more glory when I reset out of Burning Mist, even though it was an objective.
That was the other one. I think we also thought that, oh, no, he probably forgot that he had to go through the
Admittedly, I've done similar things, resetting out of stuff that I needed for a run before.
Yeah, no, it was 100% blank, and just like, oh, well, I think I had already checked off everything but getting Kane and the two darkness spots in my head, so I just didn't even think about it until I actually had that Earth Crystal, decided I needed to follow it immediately. Then it was like, oh wait, Burning Mist is a thing. I can just go do that and casually ignore the fact that I reset out of it before.
But still, to be able to recover from that and still take down the race is really well done on your part. So absolutely congratulations. And by the way, also that's your third win. You are now officially not necessarily in the brackets, but at the very least you're playing in for the. How does that feel?
It feels good to still be alive, especially after the one very close race and the other race that was pretty close that I didn't quite get through. It feels good to at least still be alive and be able to keep playing a little bit longer.
Absolutely. Best of luck in the future rounds. Have you looked at the bracket flags? Think about,
I'm really excited for them.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be some very interesting, very challenging seeds in our future.
Yeah, I definitely love the T Pro, S Pro. I don't really love having to shop a lot, so the fact that S Pro means I don't care about many shops until you get underground is really nice. And then just the hiding sirens and stuff, making grinds a little bit more complicated, will be pretty exciting.
So one more question about this race for me is, when you were heading up to Zromus at the very end, your party wasn't, ideal. Let's say you had kind of a weak Cecil without a very good weapon, and you didn't really have a very strong white mage, and so you decided to do the full reflex strats. Were you feeling, comfortable that you were going to be able to manage that?
Yeah, I remembered that there were sorcerer robes in diamond rings in Tomra, and so went and bought them real fast to make sure that I had the extra black magic and white magic stats to kind of help evade and lower any big bang damage. I knew I had an elixir and an ether too, so I could at least keep probably Palom going if it wasn't going to be Fu to keep nuking. So I felt pretty confident with that once I had 3 nukers available.
Great.
Very nice.
MP, do you have any other questions for Antidale?
Not really. I think you covered all of them.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Any other remarks about this?
No, not really. I mean, that CPU fight was awful slow. And today I learned that if you have the right agility anchoring, that Fu can probably get that nuke off on CPU right away if you get it. But that's a thing to remember for next time. But thank you both for commentating, and Invulnerable for doing the restream, and Lofals for doing tracking. I'm sure you guys did a great job.
Thank you, and GG once again. Good luck in the future round.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Xyrak, on the other hand, is again Queen must fight using Fusia, using Cure 4 there to help heal up. Now, obviously, with this party configuration, the reflect strats really aren't on the table. You're going to have to go through the more traditional, probably hybrid stats with Yang going here. Just a little too much damage for Palm to take right there.
Yeah. And Fu is not in good shape either. Though the elixir definitely helps.
Does look like Xyrak is trying to do those reflect stats with just trying to just get this down and burn him down before he does the HP refill.
Oh, it looks like he's trying to get Palom back up.
The timing is a little problematic, I'm afraid. I wonder if he dropped his battles before coming by. I didn't get a chance to check as we were talking to Antidale. Normally when you're doing reflect strats, that kind of thing that you try to do to make it a little easier on yourself going through the menus.
And there's the flash.
Absolutely. He managed to pull it off. GG's to Xyrak. A final time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 8 seconds. Just 7 minutes away from Antidale's time. Still a very impressive time. GG's to Xyrak. And we'll see if we can pull him in for an interview really quickly. There he is. GG Xyrak.
Thank you.
So how'd you feel that seed treated you?
It's a bit of a loaded question. I felt good with like 90% of it, but there were two things that wound up being mistakes. One was an execution mistake with what happened in Cave Magnas on CPU, and the other one was a decision that I would like to take back, which is getting Yang in the end. Those were two things that wound up costing me the difference in the race. So, other than that, I felt like everything else went about as well as I could realistically have expected it to go. But yeah, those two things were definitely what sunk me.
No, it definitely seemed unfortunate during the CPU fight that your reflected nukes just would not hit CPU.
Yeah, I didn't catch the damage roll on the one that did hit it, but it must not have been very high, because I really thought that the health pool of Cecil and Sid would be more than enough to make up for the rest of it, and it wasn't. So yeah, I was disappointing to say the least.
And as for the other one, when you picked up Yang, we were all kind of wondering, you know, are you going through the cutscene in the Kaipo Inn because you thought it was part of the requirement to get the objective, but no, you wanted to get the Yang. Was your plan to try to get through the Zorobas fight with hybrid strats, or just not feeling comfortable with Rydia?
No, Rydia, I wasn't really thinking that party was going to wind up as a reflect party, honestly. So when I saw the other physical attacker, I was like, okay, I want to take this. And if it had been literally anybody but Golbez, it would have been fine because it's just a one shot. It takes an extra like maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes from like the walk into Kaipo and leaving kind of thing. But of course, it's Golbez. So I'm like, okay, but by the time I know it's him, I feel like I'm committed and I have to do it. So.
Right. We're also thinking maybe you're looking for the demist there, trying to get the.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind too, that was also possible. But yeah, mostly it was just odds were I felt on the moon with the list of bosses that I'd seen already, I was gonna want some physical attacking stuff still. So yeah, no, wanting Yang was definitely a conscious decision. Had I known it was Golbez there, I wouldn't have done it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But other than that, I think you played very slightly unfortunate to lose.
Yeah, no, I can't really complain too much about anything else. A couple other like small things here or there, like I miscounted damage on trying to get the kamikaze crumble skip on ordeals as well. Missed it by a couple hundred damage or something. So yeah, there were some small things here and there, but really those are the only two things that I would take back. It was a really, really nice seed for the most part otherwise, and I can't complain about by playing my decisions other than those two things.
Sure. MP, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not really.
Well, as a fellow 2 and 3, send my commiserations for.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie, I'm disappointed. I feel like I'm a better player than 2 and 3, but I had a very, very tough schedule. So the 3 people who I lost to in my last 3 weeks, if I was, doing a fantasy bracket, they all would have qualified. So got to beat the good players to move on. And, unfortunately, mostly due to my own mistakes, honestly, nothing even really happened in any of the seeds too much to cause me problems. It was my own play. So yeah, just got to get better for next time.
That's absolutely the right mindset. And yeah, I was looking over your schedule earlier, and you did draw some rather nasty opponents in the last. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's the end here for us. But, still GG tonight, and look forward to seeing you in future tournaments.
Great, thanks a lot, Imperial, Twisted, and Invin and Lofaz for everything tonight. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you very much. And MP, thanks for spending a couple hours with me tonight.
It was fun.
Absolutely, and thanks again to Invenerable, who restreaming, and Lofaz, who is doing the tracking. That's going to be it for us tonight. We're going to be sending you over to Woo Bear, who is doing some practicing. So please give him all of your love and support. And from everyone here, we'll see you next time.
Have a good night.